Well, finally finished cold molding. It's been a long process. It's all Western red cedar. It's all epoxied down. Here we're looking port side, well, because it's upside down. And I think in the last video we had just gotten back and got these back pieces on this side done. Those sure went on there nice. It's very tight fitting. Pretty cuts back there around the transom. It'll require a little bit of sanding, but there's epoxy all up in there, so that's all good. Now we're still going to have to take the tail off this thing so that we got an even angle coming off the transom to fit the dead wood on there, and I haven't started making that yet. We got the other side, starboard. And one of the things I learned in the process of doing this was to use strips that corresponded as I ripped them out of the 2x4 or whatever I was using to lay one strip next to the other that had come out of the 2x4. So what you'll see here, like up here, see those little tiny knot holes on there. Well, they're all in the same place because all those strips were cut out right next to each other off the 2x4 here. So some of this is darker, still cedar, Western red cedar. But again, these were all sliced off, milled out of the 2x4, just right next to each other. So all the grain is all the same, and that helped them to have the same kind of curvature on them. If there was any warping in the wood or anything, to where then they all fit right next to each other pretty good. Now tonight I just put those last two tiny pieces up there on the bow. You can still see that there's staples in those. I just got those on there. Those were the last ones that I had to do. And we've got quite a task ahead of us. There's a lot of little places that need to be filled. I'm going to do that with thickened epoxy. And so you can see again how those knots all are pretty much the same. All those pieces of cedar, they all came off the same 2x4. So you can see there we got, boy, I fixed a couple of sins that there were in the cedar strip from when I originally did this, especially up here near the top of the bow. So I started with some thickened epoxy in some of these wider seams and getting that filled in. I think I'm going to mark this off in quadrants. I had a little bit of leftover epoxy, so I thickened it up the rest of the way and I filled that seam there. And then I'm going to sand it all down, and I've already got fiberglass cloth ordered. I talked to the fellows up there at Jamestown Distributors, and they said with what I'm doing here, 6-ounce cloth should be plenty for covering over this. So I got, I don't know how many yards I bought. I think I got, is it by 10 yards? It's 50-inch wide. It comes on a roll. So that 50 inches should be more than enough to cover each side. I believe I'll probably have some left over. So anyway, there she is. Should be dang near bulletproof. Alright, I know it's been a little while since we did a video and there hasn't been a ton of progress, but the cold molding part is now done.